You're listening to the 14th Bitachon podcast, and I'd like to share with you a thought that I had this week. This podcast is called Negative Bitachon. What is the idea of negative Bitachon? The idea of negative Bitachon is that it's possible, because of the way that Hashem set up the world, for us to have Bitachon, unintentionally perhaps, to receive something which we don't want, to receive something which perhaps the Yetzer Hara inside of us, that negative force which is inside of us, which wants to destroy us, the Yetzer Hara, which, as Chazal say, is running after us every single day to destroy us, that part of us actually draws to us, through Bitachon, unintentionally, something negative. What do I mean? And I'll give you an example, which is a true story that happened to my daughter. In our house, Baruch Hashem, we speak about Bitachon a lot, and it happened that there was some kind of mivtza, some kind of little activity that they did amongst the girls. My daughter's in 4th grade, finishing 4th grade, 10 years old. And in this mivtza, so they had to spend exactly not less and not more than 2 shekels and get each other candies. And the Morah specifically said that they should not get these little cheapy candies, but it should be something which is significant, not too much, not too little. Now, my daughter had Bitachon, and her Bitachon was that she should not get 2 taffies. These little taffies. It shouldn't be these 2, 20 agurot taffies, okay? So she had Bitachon that she shouldn't get 2 things. And when we went to buy something for the other girl that she was supposed to buy it for, so we got her something nice. Whatever it was, 2 little nice things for a shekel each. Now, she came home crying, because not only did she not get 2 taffy, she got 1 taffy, which was a very low-level treat compared to what she gave and compared to what the other girls had given. Apparently, the girl in her class who had been designated for her had some kind of learning disability, and she ended up receiving less than even what she had Bitachon. And the way that I understand what happened is something which I personally have experienced. Perhaps we'll see if I get into any personal stories about it, but the way that I understand what happened was that her Bitachon was negative. Her Bitachon, she was afraid that she would get less than everybody else, that she wouldn't get something good. And because of that fear, she had Bitachon that she wouldn't get so little. But the result was that on a subconscious level, perhaps, she ended up receiving even less than she didn't want to receive. Now, how does that work? What's the idea? What's the function? What's the technical function of that, so we can avoid that? And I believe that the idea is that, as I said, there's a part of us that wants to self-destruct. There's a part of us that wants us to run away from HaKadosh Baruch Hu, that wants us to not have a relationship with Hashem, and that part of us is afraid. It's afraid, really. I remember, I don't remember actually if I told you the story, but there's a story with a boy that he was trying to have Bitachon, and he had determined that he needed a certain amount of money, $1,300 for his summer vacation. And then he determined how much hishtadlus he would need to do, how much he wouldn't need to do. And out of the blue, was a teenager. Out of the blue, he received a note with a check for $1,300 from his uncle, who had not given him a birthday present for his bar mitzvah. Now, when he got that, he freaked out. He was like, "Oh my gosh, that's exactly what I had Bitachon for." And then he didn't touch Bitachon for a year. I believe I told this story. It's in Reb Chaim Goldberger's book, The 6 Steps of Bitachon. So why does that happen? There's a part of a person that's afraid that if I trust in Hashem, so Hashem's going to let me down. Okay, there's a part of that person. But the amazing thing is that very same part of the person that's afraid of that can actually draw to oneself the opposite. And I think that the reason that this is true is because HaKadosh Baruch Hu Zelu Maseh Bar Lakim. Hashem created, because He wants us, of course, to choose the good, which is to choose Bitachon, to choose to trust in Him, to choose to receive all the good that He wants to give us. So on the other side of things, it has to be possible for us to receive something negative, and for us to, so to speak, blame it on Hashem, that Hashem has done something wrong to us. See, when I have Bitachon, it doesn't work. Excuse me. So that's, I believe, the idea. So how does one avoid that? Because it's kind of unconscious. It's on a subconscious level that a person may unintentionally have Bitachon that something negative should occur. So there's a lot of ways, and I believe that a lot of what we're learning about, whether it's Madregas Adam, whether it's Chavis Halavavis, all these different things, what they do is they serve to release the negativity within ourselves, to release the belief within ourselves, or the fear within ourselves of having bitachon, right? Like, if it's true what I said, and I believe it is, that there's a fear that if I trust Hashem now, maybe He won't give me what I want later, or maybe I don't deserve it, right? Bitachon, as the Alter says, is not dependent upon deserving it. Even a rasha, a person who is evil, who tries to have bitachon, who not just tries, but has bitachon, so he can also receive whatever he wants from Hashem. So the Yetzer Hara wants us to be distant from HaKadosh Baruch Hu, or the subconscious is afraid of that closeness. As we spoke about in the Parsha podcast, the subconscious is afraid to be able, I'm not going to be able to live up to that level, stay on that level. So it puts us in a state of fear. And we are in a state of fear and negativity, so the result is actually the opposite of what we want. We can actually draw to ourselves or receive the opposite. And it will look like a nace. It can even happen in a way which is unusually synchronicitous, to use a terrible word. But that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is aligning things, it will look, and it is that way. Hashem is aligning things, because we need to have force of good, and Zelu Maseh, force of evil. We need to have this free will, this free choice, to be able to choose between the good and bad. So how does a person make sure to avoid that negativity? How does a person, it's on a subconscious level. So what's the idea? So I believe that this is much of what we're trying to understand here from the Madregas Adam. Much of what we're trying to do is to quell the fear inside of us, to lower the subconscious mind, which is like a child within us, like a child who needs to be saddled in, buckled up, and allowed to have perhaps its fear, but at the same time to know the amazing power that there is when we trust in Hashem. We need to reinforce positivity. We need to reinforce our belief that HaKadosh Baruch Hu can do anything for us and wants to do anything for us. Like we mentioned also in the Parsha podcast, when the Meraglim came into Eretz Yisrael, they saw there's a place, Eretz Yisrael, the land of Israel, is a place where there's unusual hashgacha pratis, unusual divine providence. That being the case, they said to themselves, who are we to deserve it? And indeed, a person has to be on the level to deserve it in a certain sense. Yes, a rasha can have bitachon, but the reason that bitachon works is because through the bitachon, this is how Rosh Hashiva explained it, through the bitachon, Rabbi Per, through this trust in Hashem, a person raises himself up and raises up his relationship with Hashem, becoming a tzaddik, right? There's something interesting in the davening. We say, Al tzaddikim, ve'al chasidim, in that bracha, so we say, yeah, right, we speak about the tzaddikim and the righteous converts, v'aleinu, and us. Yamuna rachamecha Hashem Elokeinu, have rachamim, have mercy. And then we say, all those who trust in your name in truth, place our portion amongst them. We want to be among those who trust in Hashem. The trust in the mainstay of the righteous. So we see that Hashem, yes, we ask to be amongst them, amongst the tzaddikim, because when we develop in our bitachon, we become righteous. Even if we've done things wrong, we become righteous in respect to our bitachon. That's the amazing thing about bitachon. So what is the vort? What do I want to bring out from this? What do I want to say? What do I feel like I learned this week? This is my, so to speak, bitachon lesson for the week. Is that through optimism. It's so important. Rabbi Nachman talks about the fact, it's a positive commandment to always be joyous. Okay, what is the idea? What is the idea of this? Or it's important. Okay, it's nice. It's beautiful to be happy. Changes a person completely. And the approach to mitzvahs is different. You meet a person who's positive, optimistic, you want to be in their presence. You meet a person who's negative, you want to be as far as you can possibly from their presence. So what is the idea? The idea is, besides for all of that, there's also something else that happens, because we are always connecting to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. If that's our mind space, if that's what we're looking for, we're always connecting to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and we're always receiving something from Him, or drawing something from Him, whether it's through our prayers, through our tefillas, whether it's through our bitachon, our trust in Him, and it can also be through our negativity. It can also be if we think that we're going to receive something bad, that something bad is going to happen to us, we can actually end up receiving that unintentionally through negative bitachon. So when I switch into a state of optimism, and this is the test, this is the challenge, I would say. When I switch, despite the fact that things are negative, I switch into a state of optimism, I'm always looking for the good. I'm always believing that things are going to be good. I have bitachon, I'm going to find a parking spot. This just happened to me yesterday. I have bitachon, I'm going to find, there's a certain spot I want because I don't have to pay. It's off to the side of the parking area where you have to pay. I like the free spot, which isn't really that far away from the Merkaz. So yesterday I had bitachon, I'm going to have that spot. And I consciously said to myself, I'm going to be optimistic no matter what. Okay? I turned onto that side street, it's called Ein Gedi, and I drove to the area past that area where I wanted to park, and there were no spots. And as I got to the end and I turned around, I said, I'm still going to remain positive and have bitachon. And I turned around and literally I looked to the left where I had just passed, and there was no car in one of the spots. And I didn't see any car that left. So it could be I just didn't notice it, which I think is almost impossible, or I don't know exactly what the pshat is. But fact, I need to maintain positivity no matter what, which is something that we touched upon last week, that there's a difference between shalva and menucha. There's a difference between wanting to have all of my needs fulfilled, which a person can have with bitachon, but the attitude that the Alter is teaching us is an aspect of menucha, which is that I don't need so much. Why? Because when I'm not needing so much, I'm in a state where I already have everything. I already have everything. That's the state where I can draw. I will draw to myself, or I will receive from HaKadosh Baruch Hu what I need, what I really need. And I will not draw to myself. I will not be unintentionally davening for or having bitachon for something bad, because I already have everything that I need. But if I'm in a state of seeking shalva, if I'm constantly seeking to have everything that I need, the moment I don't have everything I need, that moment I lose everything, because now I'm in a state of negativity and I start drawing to myself, or I start having unintentional bitachon to receive something bad. So that's the powerful lesson that I learned this week and I'm working on, and I wanted to share with you. So I'd like to read to you a little bit more inside here from the Madrigas Adam, finishing off the piece about Shalva and Menucha. Is a person who wants to have only serenity, having everything that their heart desires. There'll be a double problem. If he will want that everyone honor him and bring him close to him because of his greatness, he'll be so upset when he sees someone else being honored. And instead of having the right space inside of his heart that other people will want to be close to him, it will end up being when a person is in the negative space that we're talking about here, he'll end up drawing to himself more negativity, because people don't want to be around. They don't want to honor somebody who's running after honor. People naturally honor someone who is intrinsically honorable, not someone who's running after honor. Somebody who doesn't get affected by other people and other people's opinions of him. So somebody who's running after it, who's seeking serenity, who's seeking honor, he gets a double punishment, so to speak. What's going to happen? Everyone's going to criticize him for this, that he's trying to get more honor. So besides for the fact that he loses his imaginary honor, he also loses that because he doesn't get what he wants. He doesn't get that honor. So he is getting criticized for his negativity and his running after honor. And he gets a double whammy. He doesn't get what he wants, and he gets embarrassed. And this is something from both of them that the person can get very upset about. Such a person who's seeking serenity, seeking to always have what he wants, ends up with nothing. The focus on the negativity, the focus on trying to get something I don't have, ends up, paradoxically, ending him up with nothing, ending him up not getting what he wants. But a person who makes himself not want that which he wants, not to need that which he desires, person can get into a space where he doesn't need that. He's mavat himself completely. He saves from everything. He doesn't want anything, so no one's going to criticize him. If somebody suspects him of seeking honor, he doesn't care. It doesn't bother him. They could think what they want. It's not true. It doesn't bother him. This itself is joyous, that he's not living in that negative space. That's called menucha. That's the serenity. That's the space that we're after in our search for bitachon, in our search for a relationship with HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So it comes out that serenity and rest are two opposite things. Somebody who wants to have everything that he wants, that everybody take heed of his desires, so he'll always have negativity inside of him. Anytime he doesn't get what he wants. But somebody who lives this life of rest, of quietude, he doesn't care how much something costs. He doesn't care if it's a lot, it's a little. If people are criticizing him, if not. And it comes out that a person who has menucha, who has that rest, also has shalva. They have everything that they want. But a person who's always searching for that state of I have everything I want doesn't ever get menucha. The wise person who understands reality, such a person should only be searching after a life of menucha, of rest. Thanks for listening.